But I care about my kids. I care about the direction of our country. I care about so many of these issues. I care about the unborn. I care about God and devoting my life to Him and pleasing Him. Making Him proud. So I'm not going to go out of my way to make you happy if it means abandoning my faith, abandoning my beliefs. Never going to happen. All right, Mama, cheers. We're not actually cheersing. We have some allergies to talk about here right out the gate. You want to explain?
I've been crying all night.
Tears all night. Melissa's been very, very sad.
Been so sad. No, I don't know what happened. I woke up this morning and my eyes were like those little safety vests that you pull and then they inflate, like airbags. My eyes look like airbags. I don't know what I put on or ate or touched or breathed. I have no idea what happened, but I had like these massive, big, swollen like pockets. It looks like fat pockets under my eyes, but I know it's just fluid.
You could have given the demonstration for the flight attendants on the airplane for the... I'm just joking. You look beautiful, Melissa, as you always do. I love you so much. Happy anniversary.
Thank you. Thank you.
So, we were on here last week. I was sick. You guys got to hear me all hoarse, struggling to spit words out. And then this week, Melissa is...
Puffy.
Puff Daddy.
Puff Mommy.
Puff Mommy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we were going to hop on here because there's so much to talk about.
There is.
Our last video, we told you guys last week, we went to Tennessee. We had a great trip. We had a great time. Audience response has been a little brutal.
Well, we knew it would be, though. We knew going into it that it was going to be rough. We were like, this is going to be a rough one. And we knew that. And we were like, yeah, let's do it. So
fully anticipated it.
Yes.
Which has made it mildly entertaining for us on this side of things.
Fine.
And I don't say that in a patronizing way. It's just validation as to the state of the world and the state of things, really just across the board.
Yeah, there has been, I think with the current climate that we find ourselves in, we are getting closer and closer to the election and people are becoming more and more sensitive and enraged.
Yeah, all of us, myself included.
Yeah.
Hey, I'll be the first to admit it.
I think we all need to take a step back, take a breather, stop unfriending and blocking people. People are blocking their family members and their friends from high school that they've known for 20 years over an election. And I think that that's really ridiculous. And we need to stop this kind of behavior and reopen up the whole conversation.
Dialogue.
Dialogue.
Look at that. What a concept.
Yes.
So we're going to talk about our trip because we didn't want to just come on here and rant for an hour, as we always seem to do. It's like a trap coming in here.
It's fun.
Sticking a microphone in our faces.
You know what really grinds my gears?
That's what we should name the podcast. Rename? Is it too late for a rename?
What really grinds our gears?
No, like I mentioned a second ago here, it is Melissa and I's anniversary this week.
Yeah.
Is it on Wednesday?
It's tomorrow.
It's tomorrow? Is the actual day?
Oh, I like how you always get mad at me for not knowing the day.
No, I know what day it is. It's August 26th. I just didn't know what day tomorrow was. So we've been together. We've been married now for 16 years.
Lucky you.
Lucky you. You mean? And we've been together.
You know what I'm going to look like tomorrow? What if we wake up to go to our anniversary date and my eyes are swollen shut? Will you still take me out?
In sickness and health.
But will you take me in public?
In sickness and health.
Are you proud of this lady?
Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks.
There's no hesitation on this side of the table.
You just have no standard. You're like,
no, so it's been 16 years. We've been married 20. We're coming up on 21 years of you and I being together, which is insane to say aloud.
Yeah.
How's it feel? You still satisfied? Have I let you down?
I'm so satisfied.
That's right. It's the proper answer.
You always leave me that way, so it's...
Wow.
That's all I meant.
It's been an up and down ride. We don't want to go into this too much either. We just, it's a big deal for us. We always want to acknowledge our love and appreciation for each other as spouses. It's been a heck of a ride. It has full of ups and downs. It's been quite the adventure.
Lots of surprises, lots of twists and turns. We've lived in many different cities. You kind of go along with a lot of my dumb ideas. When I'm like, hey, let's do this. You're like, okay.
Yeah, we talked about this last year and even starting this podcast. This was actually one of the first episodes.
This was your dumb idea.
Yeah, true. This was one of the first episodes that we recorded last year. Was our anniversary, and we discussed that ad nauseum. So we don't want to do that to you guys once again. But what's been your biggest takeaway, I guess, from 20 plus years of you and I being together now, aside from the fact that we're dodo birds?
I don't know. At this point, we've been together so long that I just sort of feel like we're the same person.
It's a package deal.
It is. It's weird because like when people would say like, oh, you don't even like see them anymore. It doesn't mean like you don't see them as in you don't appreciate the other person. Because your eyes are puffy. That's why you don't see. I can't see anything right now. All I feel is burning and itching. It's more like you don't like, I don't really notice the physical aspects of you anymore. You're just sort of a part of me, if that makes any sense.
I don't know how to take that.
Like you're just
little
like
brown bear isn't cutting it anymore. Is that what you're trying to say?
No, I love my little brown bear. Like I'm just so used to you. You're like you're just a fixture in my life that I need. And you're like my comfort person. And so I don't know what I take away from the last 20 years.
I described you last year as being my refuge. Still rings true today. I know that you and I are capable of making it through anything so long as we always remember and remind ourselves that what's most important is that we stick together. I do this every week. I feel like I come in here and start crying. I hate this room.
Do you want your eyes to look like mine?
No, just I love you very much is all I'm trying to say. So
yeah, no, it's been a ride. It's been good. I think that we are very good partners.
We're very, very blessed.
Yeah. We complement each other in ways where the other lacks. I mean, I'm pretty neurotic and you can make me calm down. And
according to Dr. Jordan Peterson.
According to him and his test. Yeah. And sometimes I can be the calm when your waves get stormy. So
that's usually the case.
It's been good. We're in the process of raising 4 really great human beings.
Yeah.
Which is cool. It's cool to multiply and then see that. And then when they multiply, like it'll be really fun when we're old and then we've got like kids and grandkids and then greats. And then you could be like, we made this.
So looking to the future, we've kind of reached a stage of life. We've talked about this sort of ad nauseum as well, but looking to the future, the next 20 years and everything that has in store.
I have no idea.
It's going to be crazy.
Yeah.
And you and I are to the point now, we've discussed this on our own privately, but we're to the point we don't even bother really making plans for our lives at this point. I'm sure this probably rings true for a lot of you out there, but you can make all the plans you want. You end up ultimately just taking life as it comes, and God ultimately is in control of our lives and our relationship. So can't wait to see what happens over the next 20 years.
Yeah, over the next 5 years. Every 5 years has been so massively different for us.
It really has.
We've never just like cruised along. It's always ever changing in huge ways.
Every single time we think that we're like on cruise control, like we got it, some wrench gets thrown into our plans.
Yeah. Every time that we think we have a plan and we're like, this is what we're doing now, and it's going to be like calm, then God's like, hurl.
I'm knocking on wood. No, it's great. Tremendously blessed. Like I said, I love you so much. I can't wait to see what the next 20 years has in store.
Yeah, it's going to be fun.
All right. On that note, let's get bitter.
All right, here we go. That was good. That's positive. That's all you guys get. Now we're getting down to it.
Listen, I want to take a quick moment to thank My Patriot Supply for sponsoring today's episode. As a family and as proud Americans, we're very serious about being as prepared as we possibly can be. And that means making sure that our family has a healthy food supply. For that, we've relied heavily upon My Patriot Supply.
If you've been considering a long-term food supply for your family, a great place to start is with the Mega 3-Month Emergency Food Kit. It comes jam-packed with 33 varieties of filling and delicious foods, and I highly recommend one for every single member of your family.
Yeah, not only does that include creamy chicken-flavored rice, old-fashioned Italian spaghetti, and savory chicken broccoli soup, but you'll also get a bonus protein kit with diced beef, flavored chicken chunks, and 3 varieties of beans, plus 9 different fruits, vegetables, and snacks.
Plus, each emergency food kit provides a whopping 2,500 calories a day and has a shelf life of 25 years.
As a father, I can't imagine anything worse than not being able to feed my family in an emergency. Give yourself the gift of the reassurance in knowing that you have the ability to provide for not only yourself, but also your loved ones with the help of My Patriot Supply.
Just go to preparewithnwos.com right now to save $300 on your Mega 3-Month Emergency Food Kit. It ships fast and free. Go to preparewithnwos.com to save $300 on your kit. That is preparewithnwos.com.
So Tennessee, what was your overall take? We had a great trip. We really enjoyed ourselves, but it was so nice to get back home, even though I came back and I was sick. We really enjoyed ourselves down there. Had a great time. Let's go over the trip real quick. What do you think? What were your thoughts?
Yeah, well, we always wanted to go to Tennessee. I kind of wish that we had done a few more things, but when you travel with 6 people, everything's really expensive. Like we went to the Parthenon, which was so cool that they had that replica Parthenon in Nashville. I had no idea that was there. I thought that was really neat. I've seen the Parthenon in Athens. Well, they were kind of in the process of repairing it after there was a lot of World War II damage, and they were repairing the pillars when we were there in the 90s. And so I saw parts of the Parthenon, most of the Parthenon. And
was it size-wise? Was it to scale? Is that how
it's
about how big
supposed to
it
be
is?
To scale? Yeah, really? The steps and everything are to scale.
Because honestly, it was smaller than I
don't
always thought of the one in Greece.
Parthenon's not like this massive.
Yeah. That was weird. It was a cool little surprise, though. Didn't expect to see that down there. I had no idea up until right before when we were preparing for our trip. All of this came together so last minute for us because, we got the invite to go down there. And we had, 6 days to kind of plan from the time that they extended the invite to the day that we were on the plane.
It was so quick.
So we were scrambling. We really didn't have a plan. Genuinely, we showed up down there. We're like, what do we do?
We have never, ever traveled on that kind of a notice before. But now we've shown ourselves that we can. Yeah. Like if an opportunity comes up and they're like, hey, can you be somewhere in 3 days? Like realistically, we can. I just prefer to have a little more notice because I think that we could have maybe enjoyed the trip more if we had planned out Nashville a little bit more. We got there and we had no idea what was there.
Yeah, that added a lot of stress because we didn't have a plan. And, obviously we felt an obligation on our side of things to do fun things to include in a video that we could put out for you guys. So it all worked out in the end. We enjoyed ourselves, like I said. Because to me, and going to Nashville, I'd been to Tennessee before, but I went to the Pigeon Forge. What's it called?
So you didn't go to Nashville, East Tennessee. You went to Tennessee.
Hadn't been in Nashville. It was actually much different than I expected it to be.
Yeah,
I knew
me
all
too.
about the honky tonks. I knew about the country music, but I guess just the overall layout and feel of things was much different than I expected.
Very city. It kind of reminded me more of Las Vegas, and I expected it to be more like Fort Worth. Like I expected it to be more old-fashioned Western cowboy.
No, it's pretty modern downtown. Kind of a mix because there was a lot of older infrastructure there, like the Ryman Auditorium, which was really cool. It was so neat to check out the Ryman. If you ever have the opportunity, you're in Nashville, you have the opportunity to see a show there. Highly recommended. Just the venue itself was so cool. The acoustics were amazing, and just knowing some of the history as far as what's taking place there it was just a tremendous honor to be seated in there. Taking something in. It was a great show as well that the Daily Wire put on.
Yeah, it was really neat. I think the kids' highlight of the trip was the fireflies. People are like, you don't see fireflies or lightning bugs or whatever you call them in your region. And it's like, no, it's way too cold.
You've never seen before.
I've never seen them.
That was your first time. That was my second time. The first time was when I went to East Tennessee and we were on the phone. So the first time I went, it was for a work trip when I was still with the police department. You and I were on the phone and I was sitting near a river. It was more like a stream, but we were sitting there and I was like, hey, there's fireflies all around me right now. It's crazy. Yeah. Very surreal experience.
Lightning bugs. We've been told that we're supposed to call them lightning bugs.
Excuse me. Yeah, so that was a really neat experience. It was kind of the highlight for us as a family. So.
The trips so often end up that way where some natural, organic thing ends up being the highlight or something that we weren't expecting.
Yeah.
Ends up being the highlight. I like going in the museums and stuff like that, but whenever it's a touristy area, it's super expensive. Like we wanted to go to the Country Music Hall of Fame or inside the new Opry, and it was like $98 a ticket to go tour the Opry and go backstage.
I think it was like 40
up to $98 to actually go backstage.
Yeah, either way. So that was just an expense we weren't willing to take on, especially since the kids didn't seem all that into it.
The kids were like, And it's not even the original Opry, like the Ryman is. So then I was like,
And Post Malone was there performing while we were there, which we would have loved to have gone to, but we had prior plans with being at the Ryman Auditorium for the Daily Wire.
It was literally the same day, same time. It was like, otherwise we would have gone to that.
Let me ask you this. How about the food? Because we sought out Tennessee barbecue. Yeah. Everybody was talking about, there's the rivalry of Texas barbecue, Tennessee barbecue. You got Carolina, I guess, has their own spin on things, and then Kansas City barbecue. What'd you think?
I am not a big pork barbecue person, and Tennessee barbecue is mostly pork. So we ended up going with like a brisket. And then I'm actually not a huge fan of brisket because it's super fatty. I like burnt ends. I like really smoky burnt ends. That's like my favorite kind of
fat's
barbecue.
Been cooked out of it.
Yeah. I'm not a big beef or pork fat person. I will always pick that out. I'm not going to chew on that. Like, there's no way.
Well, you and I always talk about, especially on here, the difference between like the final product in a YouTube video versus the reality of what it is that we actually experience. I will say I am not afraid to admit, and I apologize to those of you who maybe are big fans of Tennessee barbecue. It was not good. It really wasn't good. I'm sorry to the folks at Martin's.
The ribs were pretty good.
The ribs were good. I'll give you that. It's kind of hard to mess up.
It was just the brisket. It was
good.
Like cut like a meatloaf, and then it had these massive globs of fat in it, and then the sauce was very vinegary.
Even maybe
like almost sour.
Dallas the year before just set the bar so high for us. It was so good. Their sides were amazing. The mac and cheese. The sides of this place
were really bad.
Horrible. It was not
say that.
Good. If you watch the video, if you go back and watch the video, you'll see me chuckling when Melissa's talking to the camera about our experience in dining and trying the Tennessee barbecue.
Jeremy was mad at the end. During that take, you were like,
It was.
I don't like this. You're like a toddler.
It was
that didn't
very
like their dinner.
disappointing. I'm giving you my honest take here. This is complete transparent honesty out of me. It was really, really bad.
The sides were bad.
Everything. The sides were bad, and the barbecue just came nowhere close to Texas. So congratulations.
The green beans were canned, and the Texas ones were fresh, and they were sautéed with garlic. They were so good.
I gotta go back there.
And like the macaroni or the potato salad was like super mushy and like just made with mayo and like just not good. Like the potatoes were way overcooked. And then in Texas, it was the best part of the meal was the potato salad. It was so stinking good.
Everything was good.
Everything was excellent.
Terry Blacks.
I want to go back to Texas and just eat.
So good.
We need to try some other stuff though. People told us we went to the wrong barbecue restaurant.
I know. We didn't know. Again, we didn't have a plan. We were just looking stuff up on the fly and going to whatever was close. So we ended up at Martin's. Can't say I recommend it. Sorry to the folks at Martin's.
Oh no.
How about Broadway itself? What'd you think of that? The whole music scene and everything?
It was a lot of music, but it just kind of sounded like chaos. I think if you went inside, which we couldn't, we had the kids with us. You can't be like taking them in bars. You can't have a baby in a bar. Yeah. So we just walked along the outside, and it was literally like open window, open window, open window. So you just hear like a clash of 10 different bands at the same time. So you don't really get to appreciate it when you're walking outside. I think you have to go in and listen to a band.
Yeah, it was a cool environment. I mean, 21-year-old me would have loved it. 41-year-old me was like, it's just kind of loud.
My feet hurt.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. So many talented people down there, though. I was struck by that. It's like literally every 10 feet we went, it was like, holy cow, listen to these people. Yeah. Amazing vocalists, amazing musicians. So that part of it was really, really cool. It was just not an environment. This is us getting older. I don't know that I would have spent any time there, honestly. There were other things that we had a desire to do going in, like checking out a couple different eateries and places to...
Eateries?
Yeah, it's a word. It's a word.
With our cutlery?
So we didn't get the chance to try those places, and maybe if we go back, we'll check them out. But overall, yeah, Nashville is cool vibe. I get why people like it. Mm-hmm. But I missed Idaho tremendously. I missed the mountains. We're so blessed to live in such a beautiful area. And when we leave and then come back, that appreciation just really deepens. It felt so good to get off that plane, walk out of the airport, smell that.
Into Spokane.
Oh, seriously, smelling that fresh Pacific Northwest air. It wasn't humid. Yeah. Like the weather down in Tennessee was incredibly humid, which is cool.
And the mosquitoes were big.
I don't ordinarily mind that, but it was so good to come home. We were so tremendously blessed to live in a beautiful part of our awesome country.
Yeah, I really do think that where we live here in North Idaho is the most beautiful place. And it is always so good to come back. I never have the desire to leave. Like, we really have built a life that we don't need a vacation from. I'm never like, oh, I got to get out of here. Yeah. Even in the winter, I don't feel like that. Well, like maybe in February.
Yeah, March.
Actually, going to Hawaii in January when it was -10 here was super nice. But as a whole, I never really feel like I have to get out of here because it is such a slow pace, beautiful. This is the kind of place you go on vacation to.
It really renewed my appreciation for the mountain views we have here. And just, you start to take things for granted after a while. And even walking in today, it's a beautiful day here, and staring out of the mountains, I was just like, this is it. This is it for me. I've only lived in the Pacific Northwest. We lived in Vegas for a bit, but even for Vegas and then Hawaii, I need mountains. I need stuff to look at. Nashville is very, very flat. We went to Dallas last year, and it's so flat, it's disorienting. I don't have any sense of direction. And
That's what Texas is too.
Yeah, I need mountains to look at. It just does something for me internally. I would much rather be in a mountainous area.
Yeah. Well, it has its own challenges, like grizzly bear.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. We actually got a little bit of criticism when our kids were excited about seeing the lightning bugs, because people were like, wow, how sheltered are your children that they've never seen lightning bugs? I think that's really sad that you keep them in this bubble and everything. And it's like, guys, some bugs are regional. It's not that we don't allow our children to go outside. Like, have your children seen grizzly bear in the yard? No, they haven't seen grizzly bear digging through their trash. Well, how sheltered are they? Yeah. Like, we got some pretty ridiculous comments. It's our children have seen mountain lions and baby black bear climbing a tree as the dog chases it up the tree, and like weird things. Like, when our kids go outside, it's not like watch out for strangers. It's literally watch out for bear.
Yeah.
So, it's just different. It's not that they're so sheltered that they've never seen bugs before. They just haven't seen those bugs because they're southern bugs.
I will say the area down there that I did think was beautiful was down south near Franklin, where there is a little more terrain. You have kind of like those rolling hills. Everything was very green, very lush. So Tennessee has its spots for sure. Like Eastern Tennessee, I told you when I came back from that trip how beautiful I thought it was, and I'd love to go back there, take the kids to the Smoky Mountains, maybe do Dolly World.
Yeah, that'd be fun. We should do that.
But yeah, overall Tennessee really cool, but I like Idaho.
Yeah,
it's where it's at.
Well, we feel that way every time we return from anywhere, and I think that's good. I think we chose correctly for us, and so as a whole, we were down there because we were invited by the Daily Wire to come down for their Ryman Live event, and we were able to film backstage and document that for them and for ourselves. So it was a really, really cool and unique opportunity. I do believe we are the first vlog channel that they've worked with. I could be wrong on that, but I'm pretty sure we were the only ones vlogging backstage. So the camera got a lot of attention. People were like, hey, like, well, who are these people with their camera? Yeah. The event was really neat. The kids absolutely loved it. A lot of people are saying like, oh, your kids look bored on the trip and everything. Our kids were not bored on the trip or at the event. They were so excited about the event and they loved it. The reason they were sitting there so quietly is not because they were bored. It's because they were listening. Yeah. They were intrigued. They listened to every single speaker. And then afterwards, they were like, we love that. We learned so much.
How about the choir? The choir was so cool.
The choir was fantastic.
That's the first time I've ever seen like a Southern, like Black Baptist church choir.
Yeah.
And they were so impressive again, especially in that specific venue because the acoustics were amazing. Mm-hmm. I would love to attend a Black Southern church. Honestly, I felt moved to emotion with their performance. It was so impressive.
The raw natural talent of every single one of them and the way that their voices just married together was so beautiful. Kids really liked that too. And they were like,
I wish we had something like that up here because I would love to attend a church that had a choir as impressive as those folks were. I felt
that would get you to church.
It just
that'd get you in there.
I felt God in their performance. I genuinely did. Mm-hmm. I literally was moved listening to their performance. It was great.
Even when they were singing commercials, it was still beautiful. When they were singing about Jeremy's razors, I was like, that's beautiful.
Yeah, that part of it was really, really cool. Yeah. Do you want to jump into our experience with working?
Yeah.
With the Daily Wire?
Yeah. We want to take a quick second to tell you about a new movie that is coming out in theaters called God Is Not Dead, In God We Trust.
Yeah, it's the story of a small-town pastor pushed into the political arena to run against a powerful regime forcing faith and religion out of American politics.
And there really is no better time for this movie. In today's divided culture, there seems to be such a yearning for strong spiritual leadership and returning God to the forefront.
Yeah, God's Not Dead, In God We Trust challenges mainstream ideas in their battle for spiritual leaders, faith, and hope in America. We want to encourage you to watch it with family and friends.
Now more than ever, Christians must realize that we are being called to deliver hope to a country that's feeling hopeless. Faith begins where your comfort zone ends. We need to step out into that faith.
We just had a family movie night where we watched an early screening of the film, and you guys, it was so good. The message is such an important one given the current time and political climate that we currently find ourselves in.
Our family has really enjoyed the entire God's Not Dead series, and this one did not disappoint. We highly recommend you go see it. Don't miss God's Not Dead, In God We Trust, a pinnacle peak production in theaters September 12th.
So this is kind of a new thing for us. We've been longtime subscribers of the Daily Wire, and we're huge fans. We have watched not all of the personalities forever, but now that we've gotten to know and meet some of the personalities, it's funny because now the kids are like watching them all way more.
Andrew Clavin.
Yeah.
Somebody I had a very vague familiarity with.
I didn't know anything about him.
But listening to him speak at that event, I've become a massive fan. He was so impressive. I loved so much of what it is that he had to say, especially that little snippet that you included in our video about
but I didn't
faith.
Include the lead into it, so that was confusing.
I was trying to put it into context for people because there was a lot of confusion about that. But such an amazing man, such an amazing speaker, and I so genuinely loved his take on so much of what was discussed on their open forum panel that they had.
Yeah, it's funny because I have never actually spent very much time watching him either, and then he was actually my favorite speaker at the event. And now I want to dive into all of his content because what he had to say was so true. Like, he was talking about the more you know, the more dire the situation looks.
Biblically.
Yes. Like biblically, but like what's going on in modern society with, the election and with our current climate, with rumblings around the world, that it feels really dire, and it is, and it's supposed to be. But with his deep faith in God, he feels more hope now than he's ever felt before.
Yeah, it was interesting that he cited all, the strife that we're all experiencing worldwide, and he basically said that it served as reassurance for himself. And I loved that, and I do feel the same way, despite the fact that I do get incredibly frustrated with so much of what's happening.
Yeah. But if you just know God's in control, it gives you so much peace.
It does.
Because it's like, you don't have to fix this. But at the same time, I think we as the church, as the bride of Christ, as his hands and feet that are here on earth now, still have a responsibility to stand strong and to stand up and to speak up.
Yes. Completely agree. Let's talk about that specifically. We referenced that we knew we were going to catch a bunch of flack going into this trip, and prior to releasing this video. What's been your take and experience? Because so many of the comments have been absolutely relentless. We are being told that we are a number of things. Not only are we now bad people, we're Nazis.
Yeah, apparently we're Nazis, even though, like my guy was shot by a Nazi, so that's a little odd.
We and Ben Shapiro are both Nazis.
Yes, the Jewish man, also a Nazi.
What else? We are frauds. What's been your take on this?
I think people are mad because they were entertained by the content and they wanted it to be a certain way. Like, they're like, this family entertains me. I get this from them. But they're only allowed to do this. They're only allowed to entertain me in this way. I don't want to hear from them because I don't agree with them. So there is a huge portion of the community that is like, I connect with you so much more now because I know where your moral fiber lies. And it aligns with mine. And so I see eye to eye with you, and I can appreciate what you guys are doing more. And then there was another part of the community that was like, I kind of felt that this was the way that you leaned, but you didn't talk about it at all, so it didn't bother me. But now that you've said it, now that you've verified it, even though your content is still the same.
Even though nothing was said.
We didn't actually say anything. We just attended an event.
But we've aligned ourselves with Nazis.
But we have now aligned ourselves with who they consider to be the enemy, and they can no longer lay eyes upon us. They can no longer enjoy us going to a water park or building a home or gardening carrots or baking bread because they know now. It's been confirmed. And I find that really odd.
What I found so funny, I pinned a comment on the video from a viewer, and I could pull it up really quickly. In fact, I'm going to pull it up because it summed everything up so perfectly to me, because I don't think that so many people alluded to the fact that they thought we leaned in a more, I guess, the more conservative end of the spectrum as far as our own personal values.
Yeah.
However, it was like a demand of compliance.
Yes.
If that makes sense.
It was shut up or else.
I knew this about you, but don't you dare even allude to the fact that these are your personal and family values.
Because it offends me and it displeases me, therefore. And so a lot of people were threatening their subscribership or their memberships or their viewership if we did not comply to their demands.
Which is perfectly fine. Let me just float out there that if that's the way you genuinely feel, you're doing not only yourself, but you're doing us a favor by doing exactly that. If this is the mentality and attitude it is that you're going to have when consuming or viewing our content, so be it. If you're unhappy, if you dislike what it is that we do, perfectly fine. I just found it so ironic that so many express that I love everything you guys do, but this negates all of it. It ends all of it. You're horrible people and we are out of here. Good riddance.
Yeah.
So this pinned comment, laughing at the Daily Wire comments, really sad that there is a large segment of the population that can't put common sense info together and everything to them is about politics. Let's look at the facts, referring to us. Number 1, Christian family. Number 2, homeschools their children. Number 3, moved to North Idaho, bought the land and moved before it became quote unquote fashionable. And before the worldwide thing of 2020 that cannot be discussed on this media site, also true. Number 4, former law enforcement. Number 5, owns pew-pews. Number 6, self-sufficient mindset, growing what they eat. 7, when it comes to finances, espouse a traditional mindset of paying for things with cash and staying out of debt. And yet some people are shocked to hear about how the Daily Wire, which indicates the family might be of a traditionalist persuasion politically. Sadly, for this surprise segment of the population, 2 + 2 really does equal 5. Good simple living. Love your channel. Its growth and success have followed since the pre-100,000 viewer days, early rabbit video days, paying off debt. Your family rocks. So appreciated that comment. And yes, there were a number of people who presented their remarks as we are completely taken aback and surprised. I am shocked by this. And I even had somebody say that we had concealed our true beliefs in how it is that we conduct ourselves on a daily basis and how it is that we view the world. To which I say, what, have you not been paying attention? Much like this gentleman just pointed out. I don't understand how it is that you can look at anything it is that we've done and be surprised at the fact that we definitely uphold a more conservative,
traditional family,
absolutely. And I think learning of this or seemingly getting confirmation and validation bursts their bubble. How can I, as a viewer, be drawn and attracted to what it is that you're putting out when apparently you are the enemy? How is it so? How can this be?
How can, it's like they're disappointed in themselves for enjoying the content all these years. Like, how could I have enjoyed anything about you? We had a lot of comments like, you seemed like nice people. You seemed like a nice family. You seemed compassionate, like you cared about people. I contributed to your pediatric cancer drive, and now everything's ruined. You're frauds. And it's like, wait a minute. We are a normal family. We are compassionate people. Yes, we do charity and it matters to us. Yes, we have a nice family that we've raised. Maybe it's where our morals lie that have directed us in these ways. And if you watch that and you like it, maybe you should ask yourself, why are these people the way that they are?
This is the end result. What you are viewing, what you're making note of, is the end result of the fact that we are the way that we are. And we believe the things that we believe. Does that make us hateful? Absolutely not. There is nobody out there that I hate. Love tremendously my fellow countrymen, love people as a whole. We've discussed numerous times, especially here on the podcast, about how we are a team human being and that how love and care can be so very easily warped and manipulated and turned into a hatred.
Right.
Saying that, no, you hate this person. We don't hate anybody. And some of the things that we've been accused of in the past 48 hours have been so mind-boggling. I'll just put it that way. I don't know where people are drawing these conclusions from, but it's such a sign of the times, especially with those who lean more so on the leftist, progressive end of the political spectrum. And again, I want to reiterate, if you don't enjoy anything that it is that we do, whether it be on this channel or on Good Simple Living, do us a favor and see your way out.
Yeah.
No harm, no foul.
But yeah, there's been a lot of like, you guys are racist, or you shouldn't align with them
Hilarious.
because they're racist, and you guys are not a white family.
They invited us, a minority family. There were a plentiful number of minorities in the crowd who paid money to be there in support of what it is that Daily Wire represents and stands for. They hired a black church choir to come and perform at their event. But they're so incessantly racist, Melissa. How can this be? And the best comment I got was that we basically were essentially brought in, as was the black church choir, as tokens. So there is no satisfying these people. You could have an entire audience there who was there voluntarily, who paid money to be there, and all of those people are just pawns that are apparently being used by the organization of the Daily Wire as a means of saying, oh, look, no, we're not racist. Could it maybe possibly be that they're just not racist? Because they are not. They are fine, upstanding people. We enjoyed our time tremendously. They were so good to us, so good to our kids, so incredibly generous in the time that we got to spend with them. And I feel like people have, it's like there is just this mass psychosis that has occurred to where people have taken in so much slanted misinformation. I'm going to use the word, even though YouTube will ding us for it. So much misinformation that has infiltrated the minds of so many that they draw these conclusions that are so easily refutable and 100% inaccurate.
Yeah.
If you spent any time with these people, you would come to realize that the things you're saying don't drive. They absolutely do not add up.
Yeah. Well, yeah, a lot of people are saying like, oh, this person's racist or that person. That word was thrown around a lot.
Everybody's a racist
And
nowadays.
I kept asking, can you please give me one example of Ben Shapiro being racist or of Matt Walsh being racist? Can you please give me one example? Show me an example. Send me a link.
Crickets.
Nothing. And it's like, have you actually watched any of the content? Have you actually watched these people? Have you actually listened to them speak and to the words that they're saying? So yeah, they don't think everything's A-okay. Neither do I. I do love mankind, as you were saying. Like, we do love people. But we don't love and accept everything. There's bad behavior, and there's sin, and there's fallen natures, and there's things that damage our world, our safety, and our children.
Speaking of, also, we are Zionists. You and I, we are also Zionists.
I had no idea.
That one. I forgot that one.
I didn't even know.
Look, this is very simple. People have lost their minds, like I've said, like I just pointed out. Even people within the Daily Wire panel do not agree or support 100% of what their, what's the word, of what they each support individually.
Yeah, they're all different.
We are the same way. We don't agree with anybody with the Daily Wire in their entirety. We're not going to agree with all of their personal opinions. We come from different backgrounds. We have our own thoughts and opinions on a number of issues. Why is it that we live in a day and age to where if there's a single thing that we disagree upon, that we can no longer get along, that we can no longer remain civil with one another?
Yeah.
I don't understand it. You and I, when we went to Hawaii last year, we shared a meal with a homosexual couple. Do we agree with everything it is that this homosexual couple does in the way that they've chosen to live their lives? No, we don't. Did we enjoy that meal? Did we enjoy the conversation?
Yeah, they were really nice. And we just met them randomly at a golf thing. They were coming back from a golf thing and they were like, do you want to have drinks? And
spent like 3 hours eating dinner and drinking wine with him, sharing food with him. Yeah. It was great. It was beautiful.
Learning about where they came from, what they were doing, if they were enjoying Hawaii. There's no reason you can't sit down and converse and be civil with one another. This whole like, I don't want anything to do with you because you're different. The person who took the majority of the hits is Ben Shapiro. Like, holy cow, that poor little man.
Sorry, Ben.
He really, really took, like, I posted one picture on Instagram and like, it just like people just went after him. And the funny thing is he was a perfectly charming, friendly, funny person. But we don't see eye to eye on everything, clearly. I mean, we are Christians and he is a religious Jew.
And he hates homeschooling. He disagrees tremendously with homeschooling.
Well, I don't know if he hates it, but like he doesn't homeschool his own.
He doesn't agree with it. Yeah, he's expressed that.
And it's funny when he was talking to our kids about it, he was like,
That's amazing.
Yeah. What are you guys doing for school?
As you should with children.
And he was like, oh, you learn at home. That's amazing. And he was so nice to them about it.
I would happily have a discussion with him about that. And I certainly wouldn't come away from that with, I hate you, Ben Shapiro. How dare you?
Yeah.
Really?
How dare you judge us for homeschooling?
I would laugh. I would chuckle to myself. I'd give him a hug.
You just want to like...
Sure. Much in the same way, again, to go back to the example of us sharing a meal with a same-sex couple.
Jeremy, don't touch Ben Shapiro.
Why
we had to tell him before we went in.
Why can't we view our fellow human beings as just that and express the love and care, genuine care that we have for one another, despite our differences?
Yeah.
It's
could you sit down with Joe Biden and have some Chucky chip ice cream with him?
100% could, and I would be incredibly respectful of him as the president and leader of our country currently. Despite the fact that I would vehemently disagree with him on a number of hot button political issues. To go back to the YouTube aspect of this, because you and I were talking about it, one of my favorite, if not my favorite creator on the platform of YouTube is Casey Neistat. He doesn't post much anymore, but I guarantee that if I were to have a discussion with Casey Neistat, once again, I would disagree with him on pretty much every single political issue. However, anytime I see that he has posted a video, I jump on it. I'm excited. I'm enthusiastic. I love what the guy does. I'm a massive fan. And I don't know. I guess I personally feel like I have the ability to separate the two. Where things do become an issue for me, though, is when you try to impose your thoughts and beliefs upon me, much in the same way that I would never expect anyone to come away from a conversation, sharing in the same beliefs that I personally do. You don't get to impose your personal beliefs upon me. You do not get to make certain demands of compliance upon me, my family. Never going to happen.
Yeah.
We are not those people. Still love you, still care about you. This shouldn't be a difficult concept to grasp. But again, it seems like in today's day and age, with things being so hyper political.
Everything's political. Like you can talk about anything. This trip wasn't even political. We were just attending an event that happens to be of these people are political commentators. But it was not a political video from us. But yet it was like, oh, you got into politics and everything like that. And it's like, no, these are just some of it. A lot of it was, half of it was politics, the event, and the other half was a faith talk and their faith journeys. And I love hearing people's faith journeys.
You know who I really would have loved to hear from was Jordan Peterson.
We watch a lot of Dr. Peterson's content. He has some really excellent series. Together as a couple, we just watched Jordan B. Peterson on Marriage, which is a holistic 3-part series about true relationship goals. Jordan Peterson has been married for 33 years, and he has some great insight into the challenges that every single marriage faces, and I highly recommend that every single couple sit down and watch this together.
Yeah, that one really gave us a lot to think about. I also recently watched Dragons, Monsters, and Men, which dives into the mind and self-improvement of men, both young and old, what we can do to achieve more success and find more meaning in our lives. I really wanted to rewatch it with Kaimani, our 14-year-old son, because I found it so profound in determining exactly what it is that each of us has to offer the world as individuals.
So currently, Jeremy and I are 2 episodes into Foundations of the West, where we get to see Dr. Peterson and Ben Shapiro travel through Jerusalem and Athens and Rome while discussing the foundations of both the world and the West as we know it.
Yeah, it's really beautifully filmed, and we're actually going to watch episode 3 later tonight. The cool thing is Dr. Jordan Peterson's full library lives only on the Daily Wire Plus, which is one of the many reasons that we've been longtime subscribers.
Yeah, they have some of the best thought-provoking podcasts, movies, groundbreaking documentaries, and fantastic children's content available, unfiltered, uncensored, and ad-free. To check out the Daily Wire Plus for yourself, just click the link down in the description below or go to getdwplus.com/GSL and use our code GSL30 to get 30% off your annual membership and see why we choose to put our money where our values are with the Daily Wire Plus.
Jordan Peterson was not there. I'm a massive fan of Jordan Peterson. And once again, I disagree with him on certain issues. I think we, probably align for the most part. The total bummer that he wasn't there. We were so excited. I think I was most excited to meet him.
Me too.
Of any,
I knew he wasn't there.
Of any personality from the Daily Wire. It's too bad he wasn't there. Hopefully, if we do make a trip back down there, we will have that opportunity. But yeah, such a bummer he wasn't there. I would have loved to hear from him.
Yeah, maybe one day. That would be really great. Yeah, he's always been a really strong opponent for homeschooling too, because he believes very strongly in early socialization of kids so that they don't become jerks, is how he puts it.
As a whole, that's his background, so I get it.
And so I think that would be really interesting. I would never, ever want to debate him, but I would like to conversate with him. I would never debate Jordan Peterson. He would smush me into this little
the conjuring
this is what
of
he
ideas.
does when he has really good ideas. If he started doing that before the conversation, I'd be like, like I'm leaving.
No, so I don't know. I guess overall, even though we expected to get a bunch of backlash, it's still always shocking. Why do things have to be the way that they are currently? There's some kind of mass psychosis. I'm convinced of it. I think the traditional media outlets
is strong right now.
The TDS is strong. I think the mass manipulation of, I hate to even say this, but it is very generational. We in our personal experience, we have found that it has been more so like the boomer generation who grew up in a time where media was very reliable, and they still believe that to be true today when it just is not. Right. Unfortunately, so many people seem to be waking up to that very fact, especially folks our age and younger, which is why you see so many young people swinging more so on the conservative end of things, which I think is of course I think is fantastic, but it's
they're swinging more on the independent thinking. That's why independent journalism and things like that are
absolutely.
It's on the rise 100%. On YouTube,
and it's the reason that the legacy media is dying. I mean, we have this tiny little silly show here, and some of the broadcasts that are put out on a lot of these major news networks don't perform much better than we do, which I think speaks volumes. It's rapidly diminishing, and I personally am looking forward to a time when they no longer exist.
Yeah, there's some great independent media poison. That you can find on YouTube.
They are poison. Look at the way that they've poisoned and corrupted so many people to where we literally can't even get along despite our differences.
Yeah, we can't even be. I mean, you can't even watch something put out by somebody that has different political alignment from yourself. You can't even bear to look at them, no matter how much you enjoyed them for how many years, no matter how much you agree with them on everything over here. There's this one little thing over here, and that's unacceptable. And that's really not a good step for humanity, and it's not a good step for our country.
There's nothing productive.
No,
to come out of it.
It's just divisive.
Conversations and openness, just open dialogue is so healthy. And when people try to make an effort to eradicate that, there's no good to be found from that.
So we were accused of being divisive, but it was not us that was being divisive. It's people deciding that they can't be anywhere within the vicinity of us on there. Like they can't be a subscriber or anything like that. They can't give us any support. That's divisive. That's non-inclusive. If we can all just agree to disagree like people used to, that would be, well, I don't know how much people used to. I mean, there was the Civil War and...
Yeah, but there's definitely time when we were growing up in the 80s and 90s where, hey, neighbors didn't necessarily see eye to eye on things, but you were still neighborly.
Yeah.
You were still cordial and respectful with one another.
And now
you could still have a barbecue and enjoy, each other's company. Now you are the enemy. It's I love you, I love you, I love you. You're great. You're awesome. Wow. Huge fan. You're conservative. You're evil.
Yeah.
You're a Zionist and you're racist.
Yeah. Exactly. The words that get thrown around are so ridiculous.
Which is absurd because there are people who, I guess would qualify as Nazis. And there are people in today's day and age that certainly you could chalk up as being racist. And when terms and phrases like that get flung around so carelessly, those labels lose their power.
Right.
You cannot just simply call someone or label somebody a racist without being able to support that factually. If there's nothing that you can point to prove that somebody is a racist, guess what? It's probably because they aren't a racist.
Yeah, exactly. And saying things like there shouldn't be lower test scores for minorities, or everybody should be allowed or should be required to have ID when voting. You have to prove that you're an American.
Racist.
How is that racist? Well,
you're suggesting that people abide by the law?
Black people and Hispanic people can't get IDs. Why the hell not? Why can't? You're saying that they're incapable of getting IDs? Well, they don't have cars. What? Like, there's so many things. Or they need lower test scores. You're saying that they're not smart enough to take a test on their own merit. They can't get into a university on their own merit. You need to help them.
Again, that's the irony.
Because they're below you. That is racist.
That is the irony that gets lost in all of this. So many of the comments that we received that suggested that we or anybody else on the conservative end of things is a racist would follow that up with a statement that was so incredibly racist. Yeah,
something like the people at the Daily Wire want to take away voter rights.
No, they don't.
What? Literally, they were at the event encouraging everyone to go vote, register. Like,
despite how you vote, they want to uphold voter rights.
Right.
They want to protect voter rights. They want to make sure that those who are not qualified to vote don't vote.
Right, because that's totally skews the election. When you got dead people voting, when you've got people that have been in this country for 2 weeks and entered illegally, registered to vote, which they are. I just watched an independent documentary on YouTube where they went around. I forgot who it was. It wasn't Tyler Oliveira. It was another one of the other guys. He goes around finding different people that have entered the country illegally. How long have you been here? 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 5 weeks, 4 months, whatever it was. What country are you from? Venezuela or Turkey, wherever they're from. Are you registered to vote? Yep. Every single group said yes. And it's like, that's a problem.
Or that they were garnering assistance in hopes of making that happen.
They were
even though they're ineligible.
Yeah, they're being granted access and registered to vote in the same breath. But they're not Americans and they're not here on visas or anything else like that.
And progressives don't see this as a problem?
They love it because where are you voting?
Right.
So,
we're going to give you everything it is that you want in the process.
Saying that that's not okay is not taking away voter rights. Not from Americans. It's not. It's protecting our election process.
The terms and slang that get used, and this was thrown at us all again in our comments, is that we as people of color, I'm not a person of color. Do not slap. Is nobody seeing?
Just a person.
Is nobody seeing that that's racist? I'm a person. I'm an
Jeremy,
American.
You as
I'm
a brown.
Father, I'm a husband. I'm not a person of color. That's such a derogatory term that I quite frankly despise.
They say it as an accusation, like you as a person of color should know better.
Can only think and support this.
They're labeling you,
right.
And now you must think this way.
Right. And if you don't, then you're an Uncle Tom, apparently. Which I've also been accused of, even though I'm not black, which is, again, ironic.
Really?
Yeah.
Jeez. Yeah, we've been called some pretty weird things this week. I mean, people got mad at us for everything. And then we got in trouble for the ending of the video because then I did an ending where I talked about God's plan for our lives. And I used he. So then I got in trouble by Christians because a lot of Christians were like, why he? You're afraid to say the name of God? It's like, well, the name of God is different for a lot of people. I use he a lot. I said literally, he who created us. That's God. That is the creator. Creator of the universe, Jehovah, Abba. Like, am I supposed to list all the names? Why do you care if I say God or not? It was very clear who I was talking about. And the reason that I didn't use a title is because God is different in different religions. God can mean Allah, like that's also God. So to like Muslims. Someone of the Muslim faith.
Yes.
So it's like, okay, do you say Jehovah? Like, I don't want to get muddied in the word because then if you use something different, then it's like, well, why do you use this term? You should have used he who created us, okay? Our creator. God of Abraham. We can't make
anybody happy, basically.
Yeah, I got in trouble for that. And then I got in trouble for getting religious at all. And it's like, one, we're not religious. We are Christians. We are followers of he who created us. And I got in trouble for that too, because it was like, okay, this channel now has gotten all gaudy, and I don't like that.
Do you not see the hypocrisy of religion?
Yes.
That was one.
Yeah, there's that. And it's like, look, guys, we are not a DIY channel. We are not a build channel. We are a lifestyle channel about our lives. That is going to encompass a lot of different things. Ups, downs, family vacations, weeks off, sicknesses, all our different building projects and opportunities that we have. And with the podcast, new opportunities are going to pop up and we are going to document them. And we're not going to hide things because we might offend, especially things that are important to us and that we believe in.
We've never hidden anything, any aspect of our lives. And it goes beyond YouTube. Who cares about YouTube? YouTube's stupid.
Yeah.
We're
our
people.
life.
This is our life. We are people. We are not going out of our way. We are not trying to bend in order to appease or make anybody happy out there. I'm sorry. I told a number of people this week as a response to some of the comments that we were getting that we are who we are. We're living our lives. We're doing our best. If you don't like it, fine. But when you stand for nothing, you will fall for everything. And we are definitely not those people. Yeah. We have children. We have young children. We have skin in the game. We care. It doesn't come from a negative place whatsoever. I promise you, it does not.
It is.
But I care about my kids. I care about the direction of our country. I care about so many of these issues. I care about the unborn. I care about God and devoting my life to Him and pleasing Him. Making Him proud. So I'm not going to go out of my way to make you happy if it means abandoning my faith, abandoning my beliefs. Never going to happen.
Yeah.
So,
and it's truly more important to us that our children look at us and respect us and learn that it is okay to stand up regardless of the repercussions, that it is not okay to be silent on things, on your convictions and on things that matter. Because when we as Christians or when we as families stay silent or feel bullied into being silent because of persecution, things only get worse. You embolden them. When they say shut up and then you get scared and you shut up because you might lose dollars or subscribers or a job or opportunities or brands that no longer want to work with us. If we cave to that, we teach our children to be cowards in a world that needs warriors.
yeah.
It is more important that our children learn to stand up for truth and for what is good than anybody's subscribe. Like, hands down. So no, we will not bow to you. No, we will not be silent for things that matter. And as long as we make our children, each other, and our God proud, that's all that matters.
Easy as that.
Easy as that.
Well, we had fun in Tennessee.
Thanks for having us, Tennessee. Try burnt ends.
No, it's just been, it's been a weird week, a weird experience. It really has been.
We were prepared for it, but I don't know that you can ever be prepared mentally for what actually was gonna happen. The public comments were not nearly as bad as the DMs. The DMs were really aggressive. And the emails were really long.
The misguided emails.
Yeah.
So, is it bad if I say that there was a part of me that enjoyed it? Is it bad if I say that?
No, I knew you would. Because you kind of like revel in that. Like,
I enjoy, Matt Walsh said this at the speech that we listened to. He enjoys being a contrarian. And yeah, maybe there is an element of
you guys are very similar.
There's maybe even an element of evil. Shame on me for even saying this.
I don't think so.
I do take a certain degree of pleasure in pissing off the right people. You know what I mean?
Well, maybe you just feel validated. Like,
I do.
I'm on the
completely.
Right. If this person's saying this and they're angry, then I'm probably on the right side.
Yeah. I don't trust me for some of you out there. Maybe not you, because at this point, nobody's around anymore for those who feel a certain way.
Not on this.
So they
not
claim,
on this channel.
So they claim. Yeah, there's not. It is. It's validation. And I'm not trying to gain your approval in any way. So
I loved what Matt Walsh said. Like, it made me feel better. I don't know if he knew that when he was telling the story, but he was talking about when he was in high school, his sister and his mom, who were very Catholic, would go and pray outside of an abortion center. And it
across
was
the street from his high school.
Across the street from his high school. And then on a Saturday they were there, and a bunch of people that were like football players or whatever saw his family there, and they were like, "Was that your family praying outside?" And he was like embarrassed by it, and he told his mom, like, "Guys, that's so embarrassing." And his mom said, "Why are you embarrassed that your family is praying for the unborn
and advocating for the unborn?
Why does that embarrass you?"
Yeah.
And that was like a pivotal moment in his life where he went, yeah, I should not be embarrassed by that. And that's when he said he made the decision to be a contrarian asshole.
Yeah, but it's hard when you
I love that.
It's hard when you're a teenager, right? Because you feel those pressures from your peers, and you do comply.
And you don't grow out of it. We as adults still feel those pressures. We still want to be liked and accepted. We still want to be told, I love you. Yes. You guys are great. And so when people say, I hate you, I hate everything you stand for, and you're the awful, worst people, like, that's not the feeling that we want as humans.
You referenced it a second ago, especially with people of faith. How, and this was me at one point too, shame on me. In working a job or career, so many of us are guilted into silence and not speaking up and not being true to ourselves, that is something that should be shameful. That's not, you're not living your truth. You're not. You can't say you have all of these beliefs and convictions and not see that through, no matter what the consequences are.
Yeah.
I think,
well, there are big consequences in
there are
today's
massive
day and age.
consequences, and I get it. For that reason, I do get it. I've been there. Like I said, I've been guilty of it myself. When I was a police officer, it's keep your mouth shut. You are an amoeba, a opinionless amoeba. You are to show up as a uniform. We're all the same. You do a job, you do your duty, you move on, which I don't necessarily have a problem with. But that doesn't mean that there still aren't underlying frustrations in that process. And I get that so many of us out there are looking out for ourselves and our families and making sure that we can provide for ourselves and our families. And for that reason, we do remain silent. But let's not kid ourselves in thinking that, hey, half this country believes, what we believe, the other half is on the other end of that spectrum. Why is it that the folks on our side of things have to remain silent while those on the opposing half can say and do seemingly whatever it is that they want, because it is labeled as being righteous and loving, when I could very easily refute all of that and make the argument that you are not. You are. So oftentimes I would see people like, oh, you're doing such a great thing here, when you were just enabling bad behavior and promoting self-destructive behavior in an individual.
Yeah, it's being hurtful, not living.
Yeah, I love that we are now in a place in life, you and I personally, that we feel as though we have built somewhat of a sanctuary for ourselves to where we are insulated from all that and we can express those opinions. Let the chips fall, wherever they're going to fall. If, like I said many times, if you don't want to be here, don't be.
Yeah.
You're not hurting us in any way. So.
Yep.
All right.
All right. Great.
Well, this has been fun.
Well, I think it's important to put out there, just because we've had so many people being like, shut up all week. You will shut up. And our answer is no.
No, I won't.
So we just wanted to put that out there, that we hear you. We understand what you're asking. Answer still no. So it is what it is. It's not the majority of, it's not even like 0.01% of what you're ever going to see over on Good Simple Living. It's going to be building and gardening and families and golden retrievers.
Again, not saying that we're ever going to make any of this a point of emphasis, because honestly,
this channel is not going to become that channel, but there may be other situations, especially with the podcast, where we travel and we go and we talk to somebody you don't agree with. Yeah. And that is going to be featured on that channel. And if we have more opportunities, whether it's with the Daily Wire or it's with somebody else, we're going to go and we're going to seize those opportunities. CNN. Maybe. I don't feel like they would invite us.
Yeah, I'm going to guess that's probably not going to happen. Yeah. All right. Well, once again, happy anniversary, Mama.
Yeah, thank you.
Love you so much.
Love you.
Let's have another fun, hardworking week.
Love it.
Shall we?
Yeah, let's go out to dinner first.
Yeah, let's do that. All right. Love and appreciate you guys. We'll see you next week here on New World Hotel.
Living in the new world with an whole soul. These rich men hold for Richmond.